Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, and I'm here with another Get Sketchy with Christy and Rachel episode. This is a sketch I picked from Laura Whitaker, and I wanted to use my Amy Tangerine cut and paste. Wow, tongue twisted today. And so I picked up a few of the pattern papers that I really liked, and of course I am using the 6x6 pad here. And I have two photos I'm debating on which one I want to use to tell this story about my son and how when he was teething, he had these big, huge rosy red cheeks, which I'm sure a lot of, if you have kids, I'm sure you're used to that. But that was his very first sign that he was teething anytime was these big rosy cheeks. And I've been wanting to document this story for quite a while, actually. But I've just kind of been putting it off and waiting. And I've had that little thing that says rosy cheeks, which is actually a Christmas thing, but I want to use it for this instead. So the first thing I did is I decided to use this photo of him in his white pajamas instead of the blue shirt. You can just see his cheeks a little bit better, and I think it helps to tell the story a little better that way. And then I grabbed that really cool bright colored pattern paper there to start off and backed my photo itself with the kind of navy blue. It's a very soft navy though, so maybe just a normal blue color. And then I decided, what else should I do? Debating between the big hearts and the small hearts. I did decide to go with the smaller hearts to make a softer appearance up at the top corner, and that is all copying the sketch right now. And then I'm going to think for a minute about what I want to do. And while I do that, I went off camera and traced a few hearts with my stencil that I own. And I did a little bit of stitching for the circular effect and put in my lines for my journaling. Now, the reason I didn't show that on camera is we've all seen it and we all know how to do it. So I just kind of skipped that part to make my video a little bit shorter. If it's something that you really like to see the entire process, if you just want to let me know, I can keep adding it in. I just personally know that, like, although I don't mind watching on other people's videos too, but I do know how to do it, so it's not like it's a technique I need to see. So that's just my feelings on it, but if it's something you want me to keep in, just let me know. I am, however, keeping the smushing technique in there for you just because I like to show the pastels that I use. I've had a few questions about them. Again, quite old, something my mom had given me to use, and I know it's probably not the way to use them, but it's working for me, so you do what works for you. And here you go. I am just going to play around now and decide where I want my banner to go here. I decided I wanted to go with the softer banner to match that upper corner there. And I already know I want my title to say, "Hello, Rosy Cheeks." So my title is done and out of the way. The problem I was having is that really cool piece of pattern paper wasn't reading the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to try a couple other pieces. And in the end, I'm going to go with this blue one that you see right there. The reason why is even though I don't mind scrapping with pink with a boil out, it doesn't bother me, but it was almost reading as this could be a little bit more girly. And because I had used a gray for my packaging technique, and then I'll go over again in my gold, the pink was kind of making the gray look dirty. And I didn't want that, right? Gray is already kind of a hard color to use, so I just wanted it to look a little bit more like it was supposed to, so I did take away that one and added the blue instead. I personally like it. I think it works well. And again, it reads again that it's more of a boy layout versus a girl. Again, doesn't normally bother me, but for this time, I decided to do it this way. I then decided that I should try to use some vellum. I have this package that I've had for a while, and I'm to just like 5 sheets or so, and I am determined to get this used up within like the first 4 months of scrapbooking in 2016. So I played around to decide if I wanted to do the polka dots or the chevron. I did go ahead and decide on the chevron piece there. And magically, through the magic of computer editing, I wrote in my journaling and added the gold that I told you about. And so now what I'm going to do is add a little tiny bit of tissue paper under my photo and then play a little bit with adding some of these Heidi Swap rub-ons. Now, I've owned this for quite a while. I was a little afraid to use them because we all know how sometimes rub-ons get old and they don't work. Thankfully, they were brand new, so I didn't have a problem with them, and I appreciated that they worked like that. I also added a little saying that says "Our Life" up at the top, and an "I love you" right below the "Hello, Rosy Cheeks," and that is in a silver. Normally, I wouldn't add silver and gold together, but in this case, it's not really reading as a silver, so it's okay with me, and it kind of reads more as gray, which is on the layout already. So here I go, just trying to decide where I want to put just a few of them, and I decided to use a teal, a gray, and kind of this really pretty peachy color that is kind of in that strip that I used as a banner. It's it's a very softer tint of that, but I liked it. I thought it worked well. And it matches the little piece that I put up at the top. It matches that color. So in the end, it works well. And I add it in 3 places here, and then I add 3 of them just up at the top by that top little cluster that says Our Life. And I really am happy with the way that turned out. I'm always a little hesitant to use just to use rub-ons, because what if you mess up? And if you're liking your layout, the last thing you want to do is mess your layout up with a rub-on. But it worked out fine for me this time. And again, like I said, this layout is just about my son and how the poor guy was teething like nonstop. He'd get one tooth and come in, he'd be fine for a day, and the second one would come in, and he fought with it for a very long time. I feel like his whole from age 6 months to a year, that's all he did was teeth. And I know, I'm sure that's how it all is like that, but it was like they were just coming one right after the other. He never got a break, the poor guy. So I just wanted to document this story. And as you can see, I am adding a little arrow there at the moment. And I also had a piece from the Maggie Holmes open book collection, and I tore it in half. And I know everyone's probably screaming at me, but I wasn't going to use it in any other way, so I just tore it and used it as a little bit of interest up at the top there. And I'm going to play around with this little piece of embellishment to decide where I want it to go. It's another piece I have been trying to use for a very long time, and I'm having a hard time, but it does make it on this layout, so I was happy about that. However, that one that I just took off with the heart is not going to make it. It just wasn't reading correctly, and I couldn't make it work. But here you see me move that. And with that, it's going to, I think, wrap up the rest of my video. Let's see, do I do anything else here? I'm thinking, oh, you know what, I do. So what I'm doing is I am looking at that, but I'm also feeling like it's missing something, like it needs a little bit more color. So I'm going to grab some of my mist supplies, and I was terrified, let me tell you, to do this, but I added a little bit of color, and then off camera I also circled the stitching and then did some lines across the rest of it. And that is going to do it for my layout. Thanks everyone so much for watching. Go ahead and check out Rachel's take as well, because I know it'll be great. And we'll be back again in, I think, like 2 weeks, or I think 2 weeks, and we'll have another one for you. Thanks everyone. I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Hey everyone, so it's like 3 days later after I already scrapbooked this, and I had done it on this, and I wasn't liking it. It wasn't working. I didn't like the gold. It looked dirty. The gray the gray was fine, but when I added the gold, it wasn't working. I didn't like it. So I decided to tear it apart. I'm just simply going to throw this away. No harm done. It was a scratch piece basically anyways. And I redid it doing it this way. I'm much happier with this layout. I still did the same effects. It's all the same. It's just on a different piece of pattern paper. And yes, these houses are backwards, but you know what? I'm okay with it. That doesn't even bother me either. They're like sideways. But I didn't want them to read as houses, just as that long angled area. So I did that, and I just re-stitched, and basically everything else is the same. I did some stitching along the border, and then I just don't have the hearts. But other than that, everything's the same. I just simply pulled it all up and placed it onto a different piece of pattern paper, rewrote my story, and left it at that. I'm a lot happier with it. Keep in mind when you do stuff like this, if you're the type of person that you're like, well, it's done, it's going in, then that's great. I mean, a lot of people are like that. I personally, when I look through my scrapbooks, if I really don't like a page, it actually really, really bothers me. So that's why I redo things. And this was a simple one because it was just sitting there, and technically I didn't consider it finished because I knew something was missing. So what was missing was that I didn't have the right piece of background paper. So this is my actual finished layout. I will now put on the close-ups. And like I said, please go check out Rachel's take, and I will be back next month with a couple more. Bye, everyone.